I think it's important to realize that human trafficking is sort of like this many-headed beast. You know, it has expressions as far as child soldiers, young kids in other parts of the world primarily being forced into militia groups and violent kinds of activity. The probably best known form of this horrible stuff is sex trafficking. Sex trafficking gets a lot of attention, as is understandable, because it deals with the exploitation of women primarily, but also children, and forced into providing so-called sexual services, but what they really are being asked to do is become property and objects of abuse. Just awful. Labor trafficking is the other major form of human trafficking, and labor trafficking doesn't get quite as much press, but it needs to be acknowledged. We're talking about people being enticed and then forced into some kind of debt bondage to work in the hotel-motel industry, construction industry, restaurant industry. In fact, Dr. Dave Batstone's first experience getting to know the horrors of human trafficking was with children who were forced to work in a restaurant.
So I heard about Not For Sale from Pastor Chris freshman year, and started going to the group, and didn't really know a whole lot about what it was all about until I got to the meetings, and was kind of shocked when I heard about all the different facts about how prevalent modern day slavery really is across the globe. So we were able to get the Not For Sale books, which are from the global organization, and after reading that, you really kind of get an eye-opening about what is really going on in the world.
I got involved because I was outraged. Most people who originally get involved is because they get really upset. It's a really disturbing, sickening issue, and it evokes a lot of emotions.
And then I had the opportunity last semester to go with a couple students to the underground Not For Sale railroad, where it was basically this museum from it had 3 levels, and the first level was old time slavery, and it kind of worked the way up as you went up each level to modern day slavery, which is what our group is fighting for, anti-trafficking.
Not For Sale on our campus we're all about raising awareness about the issue of human trafficking, because it's not that known, and not a lot of people know that it's even a problem in our country. And we're also all about fundraising and coming up with funds to support causes who help fight against human trafficking.
We visited the Harriet Beecher Stowe house, and she actually was the author of Uncle Tom's Cabin, which was written in 1852, talking about and addressing the issues of slavery, and she really focused on how families are torn apart and things of that nature. So it was interesting to compare, slavery from the 1800s and to compare it to modern slavery, because it does exist despite the 13th Amendment and Emancipation Proclamation.
I'm holding here the most valuable piece of property at Adrian College, and it's the most valuable piece of property, interestingly enough, because it is full of the writing of our first college president, Asa Mahan. President Mahan made a huge distinction between the inestimable, supreme value of human beings as opposed to property. So if you want to talk about inanimate objects, this is very valuable, but of course nothing compared to human beings. President Mahan used the language intrinsic worth in this book, where he talks about people having intrinsic worth, a worth of their own, an internal worth, a worth that is not calculated by whether people can be used or exploited. And this, when he was in his 60s, he came to Adrian College, started Adrian College in 1859. President Mahan taught constitutional law at Adrian College, and at the very last page of this book, he had a note on what he called the Last Amendment. It's as if the old anti-slavery warrior on the last page of his manuscript wrote, "They finally did it. They passed this amendment. They outlawed slavery. The work is done." But we know the work's not done. And we know that we owe President Mahan, and most especially all the contemporary victims, a commitment to keep working until it is done.
My name is Matt Philpott.
My name is Jessie Plague.
My name is Holly Payne.
My name is Alicia Fowler.
My name is Emily Cutler.
And I am not for sale.
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 I am not for sale.